We'll ask this airplane to introduce us to the Pleiades. It's flying just above the Pleiades right now. Greetings and welcome to Backyard Astronomy with your host and celestial navigator, Gemini Brett. It is Saturday, Saturn's Day, March 27th, 2020, about 8:40 p.m. and I'm recording from home in El Sobrante, California. Certainly not a dark sky space. Pretty close to Oakland and San Francisco, the city by the bay. We're staring, if you can see, at the horizon through the fence at Mount Tamalpais in Marin, and at the top of the frame towards the right, that beautiful cluster, the Seven Sisters, Subaru, many names, the Pleiades. The sun set about an hour ago, March 27th, so the sun is around 7 degrees Aries. It's a little cheat. You can just basically add 10 to the calendar date, and if it's over 30, subtract 30, and you're close to the degree, within 1 to 5 degrees. So March 27th, I had 10, 37, it's over 30, I subtract 30, 7. About 7 degrees Aries. Fun, right? 7 degrees tropical Aries is constellational fish. And what follows the fish to the rest in the west, but the ram. So can we see the ram in the frame now? Stars of the ram pretty low in the horizon, and they are over here above the fig tree, the very young fig tree. This is Sheridan and Hamal, the bright stars of the ram constellation. And following the ram is the bull. Now the Pleiades sit on the back of the bull, and Orion hunts the bull. So let me bring this a little bit towards the top of the sky, and we'll bring Orion in frame. Come up a little bit higher here, and we'll stop there for now. Okay, so let's just get reoriented. Do you see Orion here? So these are Orion's belt stars, and this is Orion's sword, which runs relatively perpendicular to the belt. The middle of these three is the Orion Nebula. It looks like a star, super visible with the naked eye, but actually a birthplace of stars, and a very beautiful thing. Have a look at the Hubble images for the Orion Nebula. Can you make Orion out? So again, the 3 stars of Orion's belt, Orion's sword, and then down below, the feet. This is Scythe and Rigel, or Regal. Up here, this triangle is Orion's head. Maesa, one of those stars. And this shoulder, this bright star, is Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse. And this one, Bellatrix. So Orion is a very discernible constellation and a huge constellation. A really wonderful one to get to know. This is a northern hemisphere view of Orion, where we see the club pointing up towards the top of the sky. In the southern hemisphere, the opposite is true. Orion points his club downward in the southern hemisphere. Well, Orion hunts the bull. Pretty close to the center of the frame is the royal star Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. The other eye is called Ein. And they're both in this V, that's the face of the bull, which is called the Hyades. So the Hyades, the face of the bull, and then on the bull's back, the Pleiades. Here, yeah? In our day and age, the Pleiades mark the cusp of tropical Taurus and Gemini, and Aldebaran, the royal star Aldebaran, 10 degrees tropical Gemini. So a strange thing, right, that the eye of the bull is in the sign of Gemini, but constellations and signs are very different things. The horns of the bull, the tips of the horns are up here. Heka and Almeth. So you see the face extends to these two tips, like this. And there's a strange star I don't think I've ever seen there before. Hey, is it a satellite? Is it Elon Musk's dirty tricks? No, Mars. And it's amazing right now to see this wandering planet, or wandering star, which is what planet means. The red one, Mars, who just looks so incredibly similar to Aldebaran. I'm going to point them out. Aldebaran and Mars. I don't know if the camera's showing you what I'm seeing with my eyes, but there's an amazing similarity. Mars steadier, the planets don't twinkle like stars do. And I think if I was away from the light pollution, Aldebaran would be twinkling more in my eye right now. But where I'm standing, they look so incredibly similar. Gemini is one of the two highest altitude signs in the northern hemisphere sky. So the camera is pointing up right now. I just want to come down and help you see the height of this pine tree here. Maybe I can catch the neighbor's house. Yeah, so that's a 2-story house. It's pretty tall pine tree. The fence is 6 feet tall, all right? Pretty tall tree. So these stars, I just want to show you, are very high in the sky. And that is true in the northern hemisphere for the northern tropic signs. The Tropic of Cancer, the most northern degree of the zodiac, and that is the cusp of tropical Gemini and Cancer. So 0 Cancer. We're gonna have to tilt the camera back well beyond this to find our way to the stars of the twins. So it's hard to do because I gotta crouch down here. But let's come up some. I want to keep for now Regal, Orion's foot, at the bottom of the frame. And show you some of the stars of what the astronomers call the winter hexagon. The Dakota people know it as the sacred hoop of stars. So you see Orion here. Orion's belt, right? This is Orion's foot, Regal. And the astronomers used Aldebaran for another star of the winter hexagon. So here's one of the sides. For the Lakota and the sacred hoop, it's the Pleiades. So we'll go from Rigel to the Pleiades here. And then up to Capella, this very bright star of the herdsman. And then from there, I don't know that the camera's high enough. I know that I just knocked the tripod. There. Okay. So now at the top of the screen towards the left, you see two bright twin stars. Well, those are the twins, the Dioscuri, the twins of the heavens, Castor and Pollux. Which one is which? Well, if you know the myth, Castor dies, and Polydeuces releases his immortality so that he may join his brother at his side. Well, which one is going to die first? The one towards the right, because for the northern hemisphere, since I'm looking at the ecliptic and the ecliptic is in the southern sky, for the northern hemisphere, the right is west, and so the one that sets first, Castor, the mortal, followed by Polydeuces. But of course this means that Castor will also rise first. But so now I'm going to move this camera around a bit just so we can get from here. And I know things get a little streaky when it moves. The Pleiades, the Hyades, the face of the bull, Aldebaran. The ecliptic runs right above or north of Aldebaran and then north of Orion's head there. And it comes up, let me look at the twins. Let me tilt the camera too. We'll try to get all of this in frame. Okay, so let me just lock in here and we'll reorient. We're going to see another star by the way of the winter hexagon or sacred hoop, which is the little dog Procyon. And then it drops down to the big dog Sirius, the brightest star in our sky, which is very bright and yet still hiding behind the pine tree from this point of view. But what I want to show you is the twins. One of the rare zodiacal constellations that actually looks like the sign it's traditionally associated with, and the glyph. So again, Castor, who sets first, and Pollux. Those are the heads of the twins. And here's the feet. Here's Pollux's foot, and then Castor's feet here, which touch the ecliptic. So I'm going to go from Castor's foot above Aldebaran. Wait, hold on, I got to get a grid off my camera so I can see. Great, sorry. So here is Aldebaran, Hyades, face of the bull, Pleiades on Aldebaran's back. And we're going to come here, okay, north of Aldebaran like this. There's a star in the middle of the twins on the Pollux side called the Wasat. On the Castor side called Mabsuta. And the ecliptic's basically running here over the eye of the bull and through those stars in the middle of the twins, which are in the middle of the tropical sign of Cancer. And so we're looking at, from Northern California's point of view, the highest bit, the highest altitude bit of the ecliptic, which is something that we will be exploring together in Chapter 3, the very real astronomy of the tropical zodiac. Okay, so bull's face, some feet down here and things. Orion hunts the bull. It's nice to know our star connections and to connect to them through the starry stories. But I don't want to enter that mode today. Just bringing you on a tour of the night sky. So, face of the bull, twins. Yeah, I want to show you the ram's horn, but it's pretty lost in the light pollution here. Either way, I'm going to come down towards the western horizon, and I'll stop with the Hyades, the face of the bull here, okay, Pleiades, and then these are ram's horn stars, and this, Mars. Just noticing my battery is low, so we're gonna follow this plane from the west to the east, the zodiacal order. Hyades, face of the bull, coming way up to meet the twins, planes flying right through them, Castor and Pollux above. Now the crab, so let's follow that plane. Crab, incredibly dim. Definitely not seeing any crab stars with my naked eye. The camera's receiving a little more light, but not really. This star here, I believe, is Ocellus australis of the crab, but it's hard to be sure. But I can say for sure that this crook here is the head of the lion. This is the lion's heart. Regulus, another royal star. So let me, before the battery ends this thing for us, come this way. Okay, and we'll freeze on the heavenly lion. So what I want you to see is the Sphinx. It's the heart of the lion, Regulus, Risha, the head. But look at this trapezoid here. It's hard to find my next star. It's like hiding behind this grid of my camera. Let me just lower this down a little. Okay. Denebola, the tail of the lion, and see this trapezoid? Zosma and Chertron, the lion, Cheriton. Okay. Well, in our day and age, Regulus has processed into the tropical sign of Virgo, at the very first degree of Virgo. Most of us were born with Regulus in the last degree of tropical Leo. It was in 2011 or 2012, depending on who you ask, that star moved into the tropical sign of Virgo, first degree of Virgo, because the stars are fixed, but not entirely, and we'll get back to that. The moon is now in Virgo, and I can tell because the moon is with the celestial lion. The lion, which, by the way, is well north of the ecliptic plane. Not Regulus. Regulus is very tightly connected to the ecliptic. The ecliptic's going to go from there through the moon. Remember, the moon will guide us to where the ecliptic is. The moon can separate from the ecliptic by about 5 degrees, and is so now because she's squaring the nodes. We'll be speaking about that more in lesson 4. But either way, let me just kind of trace the ecliptic like this. Okay, and then heading down to the horizon, but we're not going to see anything there but another house. So there you go, some constellations of late March, and currently hanging out between this almost full moon. Moon is full tomorrow, and the sun. See you in space, friends.